we shall begin. Okay, and remember, computer people, you are going to that website, LTA Snow Day. You are finding the Latin 1.5 video, and then you are watching it, and it's going to be a really good video. I'm opening up my PowerPoint right now. Okay. I had technical issues this morning. I had to do a full restart. Alyssa, the sound should be working. It should be working. All right, let's see here. Here we go. Here we go. Okay. Awesome. Okay. All right, let me grab. Does anybody else besides Lucy need her book? No. No. That is more honorable than you saying you also want to be unclaimed.
It's not terrible. It's terrible. But the Wi-Fi, you can feel like.
All right, guys, voices off. Let's actually start. All right, so today we are going to review chapter 13. We did 12 yesterday, 11 on Monday. Now we're on 13. So we're going to review 13 vocabulary-wise and the grammar. And then we're going to look at your homework, the chapter 20 homework. So you can get that out now, I guess, but we're going to take notes first. So we'll get to the homework in about 15, 20 minutes. I will be somewhat lenient today since it's the very first homework assignment. But and there was a little, I'll be honest, I did say that I was due Thursday on the board up until halfway through the day, and then I corrected it. But anyway, we're going to check the homework, and then from here on out, I'll be a little more strict about that, and I will not mix up the day. Okay, because remember, let's see, is this y'all? Yeah, we're going to review chapter 14 and 15 tomorrow. Tomorrow's going to be a big review day. And then Friday, we're going to take a vocab quiz on 17 through 19. Does everybody have that handout with the chapter 17 through 19? You should. Even if you didn't, you would just need to flip through the book to find 17 through 19. Those words should be somewhat familiar to you because we learned them during e-learning last spring. But, I mean, it was e-learning, so you can't just assume that you, like, completely know all of them in a way that you maybe would if we had been in the building last spring. Again, the sound should work today, Audrey. I tested all of them after class. They worked. So go to ltasnowday.home.blog, which everybody can go to if you want to rewatch a class. But yeah, like why not? If you miss a class or you're sick. And the newest links are at the top. So you'll go to a Google form page and that'll have the new 1.5 video. Let us begin. All right, chapter 13 was all about these pronouns, which I feel like this was like one of the last things I taught you guys before quarantine. So this might feel very deja vu. We'll go through this pretty quickly. We won't spend too much time. But reflexive pronouns were, oh no, my PowerPoint's gonna crash, almost certain. But yeah, we have these reflexive pronouns, which technically are, except for third person, they're the same as the personal pronouns. So let's just find, we have examples here already. So Cicero ego me laudat, I praise myself. Okay, may there is not going to be me, it's going to be myself because the person matches the person of the subject. Y'all remember that really well, right? I like I remember the specific class I taught them. There is really, okay, these had been closed, but someone opened them during like essay or something yesterday. And now the glare has returned. Even for me, there was a glare. I was like, why? It's also not, I'm no longer doing PowerPoints with like dark backgrounds. Like difficult. Yeah, I don't like these. All right, so yeah, so I praise myself. You would translate may there as myself instead of me because it matches the person of the subject. And if I say I praise me, that just sounds weird. So this is something you can just kind of feel it out, and it's just kind of, it's like what's gonna sound normal. And you know, it's identical to the first person singular personal pronouns. Ego, me, mihi, me, me. Real quick, computer kids, you are allowed to go on this website, LTA Snow Day, to get to the links. Google Forms, YouTube, Wiktionary, and Quizlet, and that's it. Those 5 websites. But just like use your time wisely. If you want to look at vocabulary words on Quizlet, you can search the pre-made decks on Quizlet. You can go to Wiktionary to look upwards. I'm okay with that, and that's about it. Okay, Cicero praised himself. So if we did that, we would have to use something else. So here, we do not use the third person personal pronouns, is, aya, id, he, she, it. We use the sui, sibi, say that I'll show you right now if the PowerPoint pulls up and doesn't crash. So yeah, we got the first person ones, identical to personal, and these are reflexive. We call them reflexive. If I ask you what kind of pronoun it was, given the context, you would say, oh, this is reflexive, because it matches the person of the subject. So it's going to be like myself instead of me. It's going to be ourselves instead of our. And then these are the same as second, but they can function as reflexive or personal. And then for third, we get these new ones, sui, sibi, say. And those are distinct. We do not have a nominative because reflexive pronouns can't be nominative, right? If you think about it, they need to be reflecting the subject back at itself. So they can't do that if they are the subject, if that makes sense. So there is no subject for them. So we just have sui for genitive, sibi for dative, and say for accusative and ablative. My child, say. And they are same for singular or plural. That's reflexive pronouns. We can practice them if you want. Who wants to translate that first example, anyone? To te laudavisti. Oh, and laudavisti helps us review what we were reviewing yesterday, Phoenix. And you said praised or praise? Yeah, praised, right? Because it's perfect tense. That's that weird second person singular perfect tense ending. So it's you praised yourself. Okay, we wouldn't say you praised you, because that sounds weird. We got to make that pronoun reflexive exactly. Yeah, do I have that on the next slide? Transition for all of them? Wow. Let's do like two more maybe. Cicero te laudavit. Bailey? So this one's kind of, so this is a mix of reflexive and personal ones. So if it was Cicero say laudavit, it would be Cicero praised himself. But this is just te is what? What is te? You? Yeah, so that was an example of just a personal one. I know it's kind of tricky. You probably thought all of these were going to be reflexive. But that one's just personal because te is second person, whereas Cicero is third. Nos laudavimos nos. Oh yeah, this one's weird because remember, nos can be nominative or it can be accusative. Anyone besides Phoenix, or should we let Phoenix do another? Parker, what would nos laudavimos nos be? Remember, nos is first person, plural, personal pronoun, or reflexive pronoun. Bailey? Yeah, we praised ourselves. We wouldn't say we praised us. So if nos as the accusative case is personal, it's going to be us. Here, since it's reflexive, it's ourselves. Does this all ring a bell? Y'all remember this pretty well? Okay, we probably don't have to go through all of them. But yeah, I think we did this around like January, February last semester. And then we also have these reflexive possessive adjectives. All right, there's like 3 parts to this chapter. This is the second part. And this is when adjectives that we've had for a long time, since like the first chapters, like meus, noster, tuus, and vester, they're going to have this reflexive energy because, again, they are matching the person of the subject. So instead of saying, I have my book, that sounds a little weird. Whereas if we say, I have my own book, it suddenly sounds a little more natural. It sounds like the way we would probably normally say it as English speakers. I have my own book. This is mine. Instead of just saying, I have my book. And yeah, that's the first person example. We have the plural examples too. Our own so-and-so, if it's noster, and the subject is first person plural, and so on and so forth. And again, for third person, we have a new one for third person, just like sui, sibi, say is the reflexive pronoun for third person. We have suus, sua, suum for his own, her own, its own, or their own, if the subject is third person. Let's see. So we have Cicero, amicum suum laudavit. Cicero praised his own friend, because suum there is reflexive of Cicero, and it's possessive of amicum. The thing is actually modifying and agreeing with. Versus Cicero amicum eius laudavit. That would be Cicero praised his friend. And is this his? Is that Cicero? Is that referring back to Cicero, or is that just some random guy? Which one? Phoenix? It's actually not. So like that's a difference. So this we're using suum. We're using the reflexive possessive adjective. So in that case, that it is Cicero's own friend. But here we're just using good old eus, which we had way before this, which is third person personal genitive. So that's like some random his that is not Cicero. That's like some third person who's not in the sentence. It's not the friend and it's not Cicero either. I know that's kind of weird, but I mean, a lot of this stuff is pretty self-explanatory. And when I'm talking about it, it sounds more complicated than it is, kind of, unfortunately. Romani amicum suum laudaverunt. Can someone do that one real quick? You got the same verb here showing up over and over again. So does wanting to use lauda laudare. Anyone else? Let's see. Elena, what is that one going to be? So Romani is like Romans. Romans do what? Praise to. And this font color isn't great either. I will never do this color scheme again. This is like, it's making me go blind to look at this blue on blue.
I can't tell.
Is it like your friend?
Is it like their own friends, right?
It'll close, except y'all are both like,
Their own?
Their own.
it's going to be reflexive of Cicero, or the Romans. Oh, so you said
yeah,
there?
so,
Yeah.
Like Romans praise their own.
Exactly. Yeah. Good. Romans praised their own friends. That really is. That's like truly a horrible color scheme. Sorry. I put y'all through that last spring, and then I'm still putting you through it because I'm reusing old slides. It's easy to change the color scheme though. Like if I just made this white, all I would have to do is like if I made the background white, all I have to do is change this color, and then everything will be great. But anyway, so yeah, that's another reflexive possessive adjective example. And then we give you like a good old fashioned non-reflexive example down here, where it's just the Romans praised their friends. And again, it's like this is a there that we don't know who it's referring to. We don't have enough context. Maybe that there would be made clear in the sentence preceding this one or something. What's your name again? Hayden. We should do an experiment on you where we just like immerse you in a class that's starting on the 20th chapter of a textbook. Like maybe it would work. Maybe you would just like kind of like pick it up without going through the first 20 chapters yourself. I don't know. But anyway, yeah, did I say? Oh, whoops. Okay, yep. Yeah. Let me fix it and then. And then we should just see what it looks like. On a computer screen, this wouldn't look too bad. I think that's where I get so if I change this color, I'm gonna make that black, and I'm gonna make this black. Then I can change the color to, back to it, change color to, what color? Anyone?
Anything but
Bright pink.
any color.
No, bright pink.
Oh, no.
No, never mind.
That's
Oh no, the yellow
No,
is,
thank
the
you.
yellow is really bad. Yeah, it's weird. It's like the color grading on the projector is way different because like when I look at this on the computer screen, it actually looks kind of pleasant. But then I look at that and it's like my eyeballs explode. So maybe like a no, that's bad too. Oh my gosh, that's maybe worse. I mean that's the one. Well, it's not exciting, but it's not distracting either. You just with this color, you would just never stop to think about the color. Whereas like the last color I had, you probably noticed it. I just slides are dark. Anyway, the next one's gonna be back to the bad color. I wish I could apply off to all the slides, but I can't quite do that. So sorry for this blue on blue madness. That looks like okay on my computer screen. I promise it does. So Jackson and all the kids from last class who are watching this video tomorrow, it'll look a little nicer. Okay. Okay, and last thing in this chapter, so we have the reflexive pronouns themselves, which are mostly just personal ones, repurposed, plus subi, say. Secondly, we have the reflexive possessive adjectives just then that y'all, I think, handle pretty good, I think. And then thirdly, this chapter, we have the intensive ones. I remember these kind of giving y'all trouble, and like y'all had trouble with remembering how to translate these, but they're really actually simple. I think it's just intimidating that you get all of these different case endings, but there's nothing weird about these endings other than the fact that this blue on blue is slightly illegible. We have that classic pronoun genitive ending, IUS. We have that third declension long I ending for dative. Then these are all just first and second declension. O, I, O. Hopefully that means something to you guys. Oh, should we like review just declensions? Maybe like next week we'll do like really basic review after we've done the complex review. And then these are straight out of first and second declension. None of these endings are not in the first and the second declension, which I know that you guys know and love. And these just intensify pronoun. So let's see. Let's get some examples because that'll actually clarify it and make it understandable. So, Cicero, ipse me laudavit. What would that be? We're going to intensify Cicero. Phoenix, and then now I'm going to call on other people. But Phoenix, what is Cicero, ipse me laudavit? No, because that would be Cicero se laudavit, the reflexive pronoun. This is Cicero ipse me laudavit. So ipse is agreeing with Cicero here. It is nominative, singular, masculine. It's agreeing with Cicero's opinion. Yeah, Cicero himself praises me. So even the way we translate it, it's going to go together. It's going to be Cicero, and then we're immediately going to do the intensifier. So this is just a process of you recognizing the case number and gender of these intensives, the ipsa, ipsums, which like that might take a little bit of doing. And really, this E ending, that's like the only weird ending out of all of these. That's like a little weird, but where have we seen that with a masculine singular pronoun ending with E? Shoot, I can't think of one. There is one though. But yeah, maybe that's the only weird one. But that is nominative singular masculine, so it is agreeing with Cicero. So Cicero himself praises me. Versus the second one is just, what is the second one? We're intensifying something else in the second one. Cicero me ipsum laudavit. Anyone? Phoenix? So we're going to intensify me. Because now, instead of ipse intensifying Cicero, it's not only is it on this side of me now, it should make it clear, it's accusative just like me is. That ipsum is the accusative, so it's agreeing with me in person, number, and case. No, gender, person. No, gender, number, and case. And what's that going to be? I'm so quiet. My morning classes are crazy. Audrey?
So I found the video and the sound is working, but it's only in this tiny box. So I can't see like the turtle.
Oh, so you should be able to make it. Yeah, so just do this. Oh, it wants you to go to YouTube for it, so we'll have to do that then. Yeah, that's fine as long as that's the only thing on YouTube.
Yeah.
Does anybody want to translate the second example? I don't think it's really sleepy. Anyone? Because you don't get it, Keaton?
Not good. No.
You just don't want to drink.
I don't.
Okay.
I'm really tired from PE.
I think all my morning classes are coming from PE for some reason. And you would think that would like get people revved up, but it actually makes you all kind of sleepy. My last class is so tired. What?
I like that it's colder in here.
It is. It was hot outside.
Yeah, we found it early yesterday. It's pretty hot in here.
Oh.
And it was really hot.
Okay, well, y'all can remind me because I like it cold in here. My first two classes complain about how cold I like it in the morning, but y'all can always tell me I like it cold for the first three classes, so remind me of that. So y'all are just cooling out from PE, enjoying the AC, and only 3 of you are participating. Okay, cool. Bailey? Close. So I think it's an issue of that we don't quite know how to do this, so that's okay. I want to clear it up. So to me, Cicero praised the direct object, praised me, myself. Praise me. Does that sound weird?
Praise me myself.
Wait, why would we? So that's a bad example, basically. That's why y'all didn't want to translate it. You would never really say this. I don't think it's grammatically incorrect, but it's a bad example. Bad example. Sorry. Okay. That's the vocabulary for this chapter. Let's actually review these words, and let's make a better example of an intensive that is not nominative. So what should our subject be? Anybody? What's a good subject in Latin?
I don't know. People.
How about Kaiser? And let's say something about a town. He's going to do something to a town. City is, I believe, masculine. So let's say ipsum. So it's the same intensifier.
and delay, delay-o, delay-re, delay-vit. Does anybody remember what delay-o, delay-re means? And we get the word delete from it, Phoenix. Yeah, the way you actually want to translate it is destroy. So what would this be then? This is a much better example if I do say so myself. Bailey, since this one actually is proper. That would be, again, that would be ipse. That'd be Caesar himself destroyed the city. Ipsum here is going with urbum. They're going together. So does underline show up? So we want the intensifier to intensify urbum. Tammy? Destroyed the city itself. Yeah, so that actually doesn't sound weird like my first example. But again, you have to be aware of what the intensifier is intensifying. Does that make sense? I don't blame you for thinking that, but yeah, that would have been just an ipse again. We would have used like Caesar himself destroyed the city. So I guess you could still intensify something and not have it show up right next to the word in the translation, like Cicero destroyed the city himself. That's fine. That is a way to destroy it. I mean, to translate it, if it's Kaiser ipse urbum delewit, but in this case, ipsum can only be going with urbum, not with Kaiser. Yeah, I translated Kaiser as Cicero. Interesting. Cicero would hate that. He's rolling in his grave right now. Okay, let's run through these. Dewey I didn't remember. Oh, yeah, y'all had a lot of trouble with this word. No one remembered it for some reason. It means, and still, no? I don't blame y'all, honestly. Bailey? It must be related to that, but it's riches and wealth. Riches and wealth. And it's always plural. So it's always in first declension plural, no singular option, because like wealth and riches is already going to have like a plurality to it. Adrian, you're done with the video for today? For yesterday?
That's not headphones.
Oh, come on, guys. Remember your headphones. I know y'all like headphones. Now you get to bring them in for a reason. Okay, I need them to. So factum is, we saw this yesterday. It means deed. Okay, it is something that has been done. It's related to facio, facere. Okay, give me the Latin. Give me the Latin. Oh, it's not giving me the Latin. What is signum signi? Luke? Yeah, what declension is this? It is one of the declensions. No, that'd be signa, signi. Parker? Yes. Parker, is it masculine or neutered? Yeah, it's neutered. Good. Because it's ending in um in the nominative, not us. Ipsa, ipsa, ipsum. Phoenix? Yeah, so we can't really know until we see them, like what they're next to. But loosely in a vacuum, it'd be something like himself, herself, itself. Yeah. But we're not going to really know until we're looking at the sentence that it's in. Quisque. This like never shows up, Bailey. Close. It's going to be each one, each thing. Yeah. I feel like that's like maybe showed up once in a translation. Sui. So that is one of the, what kind of pronouns anyone? Think of a mirror. Yeah, it's a third person reflexive pronoun. In what case though? Eden? What case? So, Sibi say. So this is, if this is the first one and there's no nominatives and reflexive pronouns, then it's got to be, what? Lucy? Genitive, yeah, because it's sui, sibi, say. And remember, there's no nominative. So if I'm saying sui first, then that's got to be genitive because there's no nominative. Doctus. Not Luke? Not Keaton? Not Luke?
I don't know.
Parker? No, it doesn't mean medicine. We have remedium for medicine and remedy and cure. This means what, Cammy? Close. This is an adjective, guys. It means learned. Learned or taught. Learned is a word. Okay. Yeah.
I learned how to speak Latin.
No. It's I'm a learned scholar of Latin. Yeah. You just don't want to say learned. I'm a learned student. I mean, people think learned sounds weird, but learned sounds even worse. Fortunatus must mean out loud. Anyone? Fortunate. It's an adjective. Suis means, depending on the context, Elena. Yeah, it's going to be his own, her own, its own. It's reflexive, possessive, adjective. They should really think of like a single word, like title for that adjective, because oh my gosh. Nom, anyone? It's a conjunction. Yeah, for like for once upon a time, so and so. Ante Parker. Before, like antebellum mansions in the South are pre-Civil War. They're before Civil War. This is not anti like ANTI, like against something. I believe that's Greek. It's Greek. Per, another preposition. So anti takes an accusative. Per, Phoenix is what? You said through? Good. And it also takes a accusative, yeah. Olim. This is a conjunction that showed up once in a blue moon. It's how you start telling a fairy tale. Yeah, once. Good. Who said once? Somebody did. Allo. Oh no, we're at the verbs. We must be at the end. Allo alera means what? To. This one is another one that didn't show up too much. Phoenix. I wonder what. Oh, you're thinking of ambulo, ambulare, like amble. This is to nourish. To nourish. A few more. Diligo, diligra. This is kind of just amo amare again. It means to. Yeah, to love or esteem. No one uses the word esteem as a verb anymore. But it means to like respect something. Iungo, youngera. We get words like conjunction, subject. No, not subject, but conjunction from this. Cammy? Yeah, to join. To join, that's about it. And check out that perfect stem there. The third principal part is I have joined. Sto stare, it's what I'm doing right now. It's what I do all day for like 6 hours a day. Luke? Yeah, stand, sto stare, steady, statum. We get words like status from that. And nice work, guys. You've mastered chapter 13. All right, we'll have to look at intensive pronouns a little more. I think we need a little more practice, but there will be a time and place for that. All right, get out that homework, and let's just start checking it. I'm gonna walk around. I'll only deduct points if I see this blatantly don't have anything done. But who wants to read this first one? Did we do this in like one of the last videos? Yeah. Okay, but did we do this the second one or just this week? Probably.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So interesting. Maybe someone could have alerted me to that. But okay, it still works as a brush up. We'll have brand new translations for next week. Cammy, can you read this? Good, very good. You probably have the translation ready to go, but let's kind of walk through this a little bit. Wait, wasn't this the one we did yesterday? No. Okay, there was something about mountains yesterday. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. Let's see. Okay. Well, what did you get?
I got from what mountain?
Yes, from what mountain? So Quibus and Montibus are agreeing here. Good. And this is, does anybody know what this is called? An interrogative what? Just Quibus here. When we first got Queequeg, it was all for relative pronouns. Then we find out you can ask questions with these words. And if you're asking an open-ended question, it's an interrogative pronoun. Like, what are we going to do today? Versus an interrogative adjective, which is more like, which activity will we do today? Where you're asking about something specifically. And the difference is it's going to be right next to something it's agreeing with in person and, or a case and gender and number. So from which mountains has this swift river flowed? Why am I saying has here? Fluid is from fluo, fluora, and it is what tense, Hayden? Fluo, fluora. Well, flumen means river. Fluid is from fluo, fluora. Fluxy, which means to flow. So this is actually present tense. So let's change it to is. From which mountain is that swift river flowing? Okay, because flowed would be fluxit. It'd be fluxit. Okay, raise your hand if you got within 90% correction. Correct. Good. All right. Good. That's an interrogative adjective. Who wants to read this one? It's already color coded for us.
That'd be hard. Not Bailey or whoever started raising their hand. Nisi, Eos, Scalaribus, Istius, Tyranni, Liberabimus, Netu, Grawi, Sinfer, Superab, Lentur. Okay, we haven't seen Nisi a whole lot. It is basically the negative version of C, whereas C is if, Nisi is what, Cammy?
What?
Good. And so we have 2 parts of the sentence here too, pretty separate clauses. What did you get, Cammy?
I got unless we overcome the evil deed of that tyrant, heavy fear will always overcome us.
The evil deed of the tyrant. And then you said, what will overcome us?
Heavy fear.
We fear. Interesting. Okay, so that is like 90% correct. There's like 2 little things we need to tidy up. So let's see here. Let's see. Unless we liberate. So how do you translate Eos? So unless we liberate what in your version? How should we take Eos here? Remember, so Eos is ostensibly a personal pronoun, but we could, I'm not saying we will, but we could treat it demonstratively, Phoenix.
If we read them.
Yeah, maybe them, okay? Because it's plural, accusative, okay? It has that accusative ending right here, second declension, meaning it's a masculine, accusative, plural, third person, personal pronoun. So I guess you could take it as like those men and extrapolate that it's masculine, so you can say those men, but them is just fine. So unless we liberate them, the direct object, and then from what, Cammy? We liberate them from?
The tyrant.
Not quite the tyrant. Well, we're gonna liberate them from the, and we're gonna be looking for an ablative. Libero is gonna be looking often for an ablative of separation. So prohibeo, libero, and careo. Whether you are freeing something from something, lacking something, or keeping something from something else, that is going to be an ablative of, anyone out loud? What? Separation. Separation. We'll go over the ablatives pretty soon, maybe next week. But we will free them, what? Anyone? Free them. This is good we're doing this the second time. What preposition do I need to use? You free things blank other things. Hayden? Yes, thank you. We will free them from Scalaribus. Actually, I don't blame you guys if you don't remember what Scalus Scalaris. You need to be looking up these words. It means like wickedness or like evil deeds. So that's Scalus Scalaribus. I can write it out since it's clearly a vocab issue. Scalus Scalaris, third declension. So unless we free them from the wickedness, then what? Then what should we actually do with Istius, Tyranni? You kind of did this, Candy. But what case are Tyranni and Istius? So that IUS ending at the end of ista, that's always kind of very specific when it comes to pronouns and Tyranni. If it's going to Tyranni, it kind of like clarifies it for us. Yes? Yeah, so it's the wickedness, what? And not just the tyrant, but of that tyrant. And it's even ista instead of illa, so we could even say of that tyrant of yours. Like it's like very pejorative, like it's a negative version of illa. So unless we free them from the wickedness of that evil tyrant, or just tyrant rather, or evil king, I guess, then what? Then what? And then Cammy basically had this, but Cammy, you kind of like treated the verb as though it was still active, and I just gave it away. But what is its actual voice? Is it active or? Yes, it's passive. So that tor ending should stand out a lot. And then this means we don't have to worry about it too much. What tense is it?
Future.
Yeah, but let's not even worry about the fact these are future because it's a condition and like we don't even really, well, yeah, I mean, it can come into play. So what should that actually be? And it's, what person and number is it, Cora? This passive verb, is it first, second, or third person?
Third.
Yeah, good. It's third singular plural.
Plural.
Plural, good. What has been the plural thing so far that we're probably talking about that is going to be passively verbed? Anyone? It's all the way in the first clause. We're probably talking about something that's going to happen to the them, the Eos. So unless we do this, unless we liberate them from the evilness of that tyrant, they, Phoenix? Good. So watch this, guys. This is important. So like the they is kind of coming from here, and sort of the Eos. So they will, future tense. So I do want that to be future. Will always be overcome by grave fear. Okay, and if y'all can remember what this is, that would be truly amazing. What is the case of Metu Grawi? Carly? Good. And it's the ablative of, we get it when we get the perfect tense. I mean, the passive voice. Because passive voice verbs, those are verbs that are happening to the subject. Whereas subjects used to actively do verbs themselves, passive verbs happen to them, and the ablative of blank will be the thing actually doing that passive verb, huh? No, that's a good guess. It's really good because there's no preposition. It's actually ablative of, think of a secret blank who goes on missions around the world, like James Bond or something. Yeah, the ablative of agent. Remember that? Does that ring a bell? So what are they going to be conquered by? By grave fear. They're not going to be conquered by that tyrant and the evil deeds. They're going to be conquered by the fear of that tyrant, or that the tyrant instills in them. Okay, that was a real workout for my brain. Okay. Yes, sir. What are they? So like the one at the bottom, those are all the noun endings. And their cases and functions, which I talk about in the video. So anytime you're looking at a noun, when you're doing translations, look at that. That'll help you know what case they are and how they're functioning in the sense of whether it's a subject or a direct object. And the middle one is for sum esse, which is a weird verb that needs to be. And then the top one is just for your normal verbs, the OST mustus int chart. Yeah, good. Okay, let's see where are we at? 10:25. We got about 10 minutes. So let's do probably one more. Who wants to read this one in Latin? What were we missing from last year? Like, let's see. So we had the Brandt siblings. Who else? Becca, she's going to a new school apparently. What's his name? Camden too. Oh yeah, and both of the Duvals. What do they do now? Jackie and Michael.
Oh,
Duval Francis.
they're going to the same school as Cammy did.
Oh really? Okay. Interesting. Let's see. Who wants to read this? So Odie, Sarah, y'all know how to read Latin. That's what it is. I have to do this every year. I have to remember that I have to like call on people. Yeah. Younger kids are good at volunteering. Odie, Sarah, quae homines fructibus stulcibus libertatis prohibet. Now this very first word probably gave people trouble. What did y'all, Hayden, what is it? It is just hate, yeah. So this is called a defective verb. It's like broken and messed up, this verb. But that's just the first person singular version of it. We're not going to worry too much about it in its other forms, but it means I hate. I hate what, Hayden?
I said they hate serving because the men have.
So I don't blame you for not knowing the person of Odie, but picture that it's kind of like perfect tense, basically. For the ancient Romans, hating something was like always a perpetual thing. It was perfect tense, sort of. I wonder if they can hear my voice back here. So it is just I hate, actually. So I hate what, though, Cammie?
Servitude?
Yeah, what case of servitude, Phoenix? Yeah, it's just confusing. So the first two words are just like a super simple part of the sentence where we have a first person singular verb and a direct object. Bam, I hate servitude. And then we're going to learn more about that servitude. What are we entering when we hit quae? Keaton, what is that? What's that called? That whole section. starting with quai and kind of going on for the rest
I
of it.
know what it is because I know we underline it every sentence.
We talked about on Friday. Some starts with an R. Eight.
Reflexive.
Close, not reflexive, because it's not. We don't have like a. We don't. Well, it is a pronoun, so you're in the right track. Yeah, it's a something clause, not a Santa Claus. Not a lobster clause. Parker?
Relative clause.
Yeah, it's a relative clause. So it's a relative clause, which like even that word kind of explains what it is. It is relative to this main clause, meaning like it wouldn't exist if it weren't for the main clause, if that makes sense. It is related to and it's relevant to the main clause. It's going to expand on something in the main clause. What is it going to expand on? Quai is a relative pronoun. Its antecedent must be, can really only be one thing. Anyone out loud? Huh? No, the antecedent is going to be in the main clause. So it's going to be referring to something in the main clause, which is only 2 words. Yeah, it's going to tell us more about servitude. So what about servitude? I hate servitude, which, or we could use that. That's fine too. But we don't want to say who, because servitude isn't a person. I don't think there's like a Greek god version of like servitude, the concept. Really? Yeah, awesome. So you thought this was kind of like a subject? That's super fair. You're really close. You're really close. So once we're in a relative clause, which usually I don't like the relative clause, but most of the sentence is relative clause, we have a blank grammatical slate. Well, we can have a new subject. We can have a new verb. We can have a new direct object. You think homonyms is the subject. That's fair. But actually, what is probably the actual subject, kind of weirdly? It's maybe the most simplistic thing it could be. I'm going to ask her since she was not libertatis. That's a decent guess, Luke. Right. Not fructibus. That is a new fourth dimension word. Not Hayden. You were going to say that? Hayden. I mean, Phoenix. So that's what she thought it was. Scheme. No, not liberal. I'm actually loving how rusty we are. I'm not like this is good. I'm glad that it sounds weird, but it's actually just quai. So the relative pronoun itself won't always be the subject, but if you remember qui, quai, quad, that's that pronoun. So like that's the nominative masculine, nominative feminine, and nominative neuter. So this is quai. It really can only be nominative. Relative pronouns, again, won't always be the subject of their clause. They don't have to be. They can be any case, really. But here, it is just the subject, actually. All it has to do is agree in terms of gender and number with its antecedent. It can be a different case than the antecedent. And it is, because servitude is the direct object of the main clause, but the relative clause referring back to it is the subject of the relative clause. So, which, and then we go straight to our verb. Once we realize this is the subject, we go straight to the verb. So, I hate servitude, which, what does this mean out loud, anyone? Prohibits or keeps a direct object. So what is our direct object actually, probably, Bailey? Yeah, so it keeps men, more like men, yeah, from, and what kind of fruits? Sweet fruits of liberty. Good, because what case is liberty? Yeah, libertatis is genitive, and fructibus dulcibus is this ablative of separation. So yeah, we're not gonna have a first translation quiz until like 2 weeks from now. But I'll underline things like fructibus, and you'll say it's ablative of separation, because we're keeping a direct object from this ablative of separation. So it's the idea of separation is inherent to the idea that is being expressed. All right, we got 7 minutes. Either someone has to do this really fast, or someone has to like tell me a story about something they did this weekend, or something they're going to do. Do computer kids have any questions, Sarah? Yeah, it's a good idea. So this class ends at 10:25 apparently. So computer kids in the future, you'll probably want to start putting your computers up around 25. And the last, actually, I'll close the door of the thing. But yeah, be very careful when you do that. Obviously, Adrian's really close to it, so don't bump your computer into his desk while you're trying to do that. But yeah. Any other computer kid questions? Any good stories? Yes?
I'm going airsoft this weekend again.
Doing airsoft? Oh, cool. Fine. You go somewhere in town?
Yeah.
That's cool.
I think no, I don't know if I ever actually did airsoft. I did like a little bit of paintball when I was younger. But like my friends all would have like airsoft guns. Which hurts worse, paintball or airsoft?
Definitely people.
Really? Okay. Huh. I would like imagine airsoft is almost worse because it doesn't like explode. At least with paintball, it pops open and like. Does anybody want to at least offer up their translation real quick? We don't have to dwell on it. I'm basically. There's a point in Latin classes where it's like you can go too far and kids aren't even retaining anything at that point. Lucy, what'd you get for this?
I thought the boys will
Yeah, that's really close. So Aorum's kind of weird there. It's personal pronoun. That's going to be their sons. Or like the sons of them. So their sons is better. So their sons pronounce or recite. Recite is probably a little better. Even proclaim. And what did you say? Those the verses? Their verses? No, this is going to be from Hikai Kak. So it's not. Voices up. It's not going to be. It's not going to be those verses. It's going to be, yeah, good. These verses in school tomorrow. Ludo can be game, but here the context makes it very clear that it should probably be like school. They're not going to pronounce poetry verses in a game. Pronunciabunt is what tense, Carly? What tense is from pronunciabunt? Not imperfect, that'd be bont, B-A-N-T, so this is not perfect. That would be like pronuncia Beirunt, or something. I probably have a V, I think. Pronuncia V is the perfect stem. You're close. Not Luke Parker. Future. Yeah, future. You got, remember the bundt cake. Bundt cake got slightly more complicated because we have, what is it? Is it something that looks like third person plural future, but it's not? Maybe it's not. Maybe B-U-N-T is always still future for us. I don't think there's any verb stems that end in B. Okay, yeah, so their sons will proclaim these verses in school tomorrow. Numerus quinque. What does cur mean? Why? Is my thing still recording? So I guess when I record and I'm not actually streaming, maybe I have no time limit. That's good. Cur is why. This is a question. Why, and then we're going to need a helping verb, something like does. Why does the subject not defend, what, keyways? What is keyways? Yes. Because you're looking at no, let's see. No, keyways isn't like liberties. It's people who enjoy certain liberties. I mean, what are, yeah? Yeah. So why does the Senate not defend our citizens? Our citizens, okay? That's the direct object there. Let's color code it. From fear. Okay, once again, fear is a, anyone? A blank of blank? I bet Caden could even answer it. Allo separation. Defend them from fear. And in what case are these? Because y'all probably don't remember what think means. I don't remember what think means. Lorum coniuratorum. That's a noun. Good, it's genitive. So from the fear, what? Of those conspirators. This is a new chapter 20 vocabulary for conspirators. So next week I'll actually have you take the chapter 20 vocabulary quiz. This week is like review from stuff you maybe never fully learned last spring. And then next week we'll take 20 vocab. And then we'll have another week on chapter 20 to finish it. So plenty of time for a review before we actually push on to chapter 21. And it was yesterday. Harry's yesterday. All right, that's a wrap, guys. We're not going to translate that one. We don't have enough time. All right, stop share. No, I will not collect these.